All right, let me know if you folks can see and hear me. I finished getting the last of the set up. All right, let me know if you folks can. All right, we're looking good. Audio is good on YouTube. Switch accounts. All right. Very good, very good. I was, looking around at the AI here. Give it another second to see if anybody else is going to file in here. Kind of bummer if nobody does, but we press on regardless. All right, so an extra small crowd today. Mike C, how are you? Load up these races here. So, some interesting stuff playing with my layout a little bit, moving things around. Scans a little closer to charts for fun, just looking at some different stuff. And again, if you all have questions, start firing away. For those of you that are on the YouTube side of things, if you'd like to join us in Zoom, let me drop a link for you. There you go. There's a Zoom link for anybody that wants to join. There we go. On that side of things, all right. And we got another real solid up day, start of an uptrend possibly here, third day in a row. I think, well, technically yesterday was a down day, but more sideways than down, I would say. So, we consider all these things like that. Let's see, we're at 34 past the hour. It doesn't look like we're really going to get much more action here from people. So, all right. All right, with all that said, not a whole lot going on in my trading world today, but definitely some interesting stuff going on throughout the day. I don't think I have any price alerts really. No, I didn't take any really trades today. This IRT, that was unfortunate to see. So this was a strength alert from a few weeks ago. It looked real nice for a little bit here. Nice move up. It was called back here, had a nice move up. Just got crushed after earnings. So just that's why we do not marry stocks, right? So apologize, just had to reset something and I put myself on mute because there's a little bit of a racket with it. So I was commenting on IRT and why we don't marry stocks. And some stuff we can see is moving towards the upper end of the Bollinger Bands here on a 15-minute chart. Really kind of digging the scan lately. Done a few nice trades off of it the last week plus or so. I think I've really shared it with everybody. If not, let me know. I am going to, because it looks dead here in Zoom land, I'm going to enable everybody's mics that's in Zoom. If somehow magically 50 more people show up, I'll cut the mics off again. So if anybody, wants to chime in, they want to ask questions, I mean, there's really just 3 of you here in Zoom with me. So kind of like a private session. If you folks want to, jump in and there's anything you want to ask or discuss or anything like that. All right. Yeah. So with that said, have at it. Of course, I'll go over anything that, anybody wants. So, all right, nothing coming through for you all at the moment. Fair enough. Take a look at some of these alerts that are coming through. So like I said, some really good stuff. And, you can see some of these have been coming through for a while on these races. And, just some nice steady climbers. This would have started coming through back here. So, 20-cent move or so off of that, coming into the end of the day. That's always nice to see. This one's coming back towards high of the day after a wicked sell-off, it looks like. Not that interesting, to be honest, on that. Sun L, that's having itself a nice day here, up 30%, and really breaking this range that it got into today. So look at this range that was in for a while and making a nice move out of that there. Again, we're doing an open forum here right now. So if anybody's got questions, please ask. Para, we'll take a look at it. Take a look at Para. So Para, all right. It's a new. All right, so it's a new issue. Gap up and a go. We came back, as a matter of fact, very textbook. Look at this, made that gap up. We came down, tested the low of the day. All right. And then we bounced off of that. We got into a range and we're taking back off out of that range again. So solid move. I don't know what they did that got that, because we got earnings behind it. And maybe some room up to nearly that 35 level right there. So let's see, you got a Q&A, Chris, upper 20-day range scan. Yeah, so all I've done here with this, and I'm happy to share it out. I think I have it named differently when I share it with you. I just changed the name on it recently. But if we look at the configure of this, it's looking at stocks between $8 and $50. Position and range for the day, it's got to be 75% above the low of today. Relative volume's got to be 0.8 or more, meaning it's, doing around its normal volume for the last 10 days or more. Trade at least 550,000 shares on the day. And then it's got to be up from the open as well. And it's going to be 75% above the low of today's range. And 75% above the low of the 20-day range. And that's what I'm looking for in there. And that's all it's doing. If I can share that out here, give me a second. Let me find it in my cloud. What are we looking for? All right, so here's a link to that. It's called My Evening Scan, more shares, but it's the same scan I just went over. I just renamed it. My layout was on, just in case anybody that's in YouTube doesn't have. There we go. Oh, okay. Berkshire Hathaway bought shares. So, all right. I mean, that's it's a good reason to be trading it. Berkshire Hathaway obviously is a much different plan than any trader on this planet does. Berkshire does not buy stuff because they intend to hold it for a day or a week. They usually have years on their time horizon, at least many, many months, if nothing else. So that's a big deal, I'd say, on Para. I feel like there was something else I wanted to go. Oh yeah, here we go. 2-week A. Can you go over what we get and how we can use additional programs? Thanks. Yeah. So, all right, we could start with the AI itself for those of you that are either premium subscribers or on the test drive. So if we have our menu bar in front of us, so we go new and we can go the second one, Holly strategy trades window, click that and open that. And that's going to give you a window that looks like this. Which is what I have down here. Now I have mine set up with a lot less data than what you see in here. Going back to the theme, everything in Trade Ideas is a right click. So if I right click and I can come into columns here and I can select what I want to see. And, you can take your time and go through those items in there one by one, what you do or don't want to see. I think it's always best to start off with less and then increase it accordingly or check out different things. Just otherwise you end up with information, overload or analysis paralysis, if you will. So I'm going to work off this window down here for the AI. All right. And we have 3 different modes on the AI to look at. All right. Our conservative mode, moderate mode, and aggressive mode. Quite personally, I think aggressive is nonsense. It's trading without a stop. Traders are risk managers. All right. Conservative mode just means that we have 5 different possible exits. We in fact see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see all 5 today. As a matter of fact, that's pretty impressive. You don't always see that. So let's go over them one by one. Now, first off, with conservative mode, all right, the exit price is always in conservative mode. The exit time is always conservative mode, and the exit reason is always conservative. The reason is moderate, means either a stop was hit or it's a sell on close order for the market. All right. So it's not really a timed exit in the traditional sense of a timed exit. It just means we're selling on close order, which is a type of order that can be done. And so that's how that works. So it's a 355 sell on close order versus you can see these timed exits here at 345 on these here. They were timed to go out at 345 because that's the way the algorithm essentially works. All right. So again, going back to conservative, talking about the conservative mode because there's a little more to it. All right. Let's start with stop hit. All right. Everybody knows what a stop is. All right. If you don't know what a stop is, you need to do some studying for sure. Now, Upstart's one that got the stop hit, but it had a reentry, what we call a reentry afterwards. I'm going to show how that all looks here. I'm going to put the AI back here. All right. And we could see, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the algorithm had a really tight stop on it, which was unfortunate. It should have given a much wider stop, but it didn't. And that is what it is. But the re-entry caught it on its way back up and ends up being an outstanding alert. So we can see, the alert entry right there at 41. The stop was down here at 40.75 was only a quarter, which is really unfortunate again, but it is what it is. And it ends up working out very well on a re-entry. And even with that stop out and the re-entry not calculated, the AI is still up 500 on risking $100 per trade is what I have it set up right now. And this is not a live account. It's not in a live account. It's just a hypothetical if it had gone like that. All right. Now that covers what a stop is. All right. Timed exit. We talked about what that is. So here we can see it exited on this candle at the beginning of this candle. So it's a timed exit. All right. We have a reduced risk. And essentially, this is just saying that the trade isn't working and we're not going to stick around to let a winner turn into a loser, essentially. All right. So the entry was made here. And when it poked its head back over that entry level and went negative, it decided, you know what? We're not going to stick around for the stop. And the stop's up here because it was a short entry. Now, it does end up moving back towards the entry and getting back in the money in moderate mode. But that just is what it is. That's the way the algorithm called it into conservative mode. Profit save is going to be the reverse, not letting a winner turn into a loser. And then we could equate it to a trailing stop. It is not a trailing stop, but we can equate it to one. Okay. And again, here's where our entry point is. And the AI was in here on this wick. Now notice how that there's two different shades in this box here. It's a little darker here versus in here, okay? So the little darker area, that's this area right here, indicates the conservative area, where the lighter shade indicates moderate, all right, for risk. And so before it came down and got pushed out right here to going negative, the AI exited somewhere in that candle on the upper side of it, and that's why it was a profit save, and that's how that worked, all right? So, and we can see here, target hit, that was the last one. It was on a short trade. And we can see that it has gone negative since that target was hit. So the AI made an entry way back here, all right? And it kind of just pushed around all day. And for whatever reason, something happened. Look at that big volume spike, came down, bang, nailed that target, came right back up, washed out, moved down, and now it's moved back. And so in moderate mode, it'd be a losing trade now versus conservative mode. It nailed that target. And that covers, a lot of the basics of the AI, essentially. Now, someone might say, well, how do you have this set up that, if you're paying attention, you can see how many shares I would have hypothetically taken? So how would I do that? Right here in the menu bar. If we go to tools and we go to options and we go to AI trade size, and you can see I have it based on stop loss right here. And we could change this to shares per trade, saying I want to take 100 shares per trade, or dollars per trade. I want $1,000 worth of stock per trade. I'm one of those people that generally you should be risking the same amount of money for every trade. And that's why I use it like that. Now, again, this is all based on hypotheticals here. This is not a live account. If I were to go live, it would not, this would have zero effect on any live trading whatsoever. This is just an alert window here. Just think of this as an alert window. It's a fancy alert window, the AI strategy trades window. It's just a fancy alert window. It's just telling us what the alert price was. We're calling it an entry price. What the last price currently is, the change since the alert or entry, all right? I have it set up to show what happened in moderate mode in percent and dollars, all right? There's our stop price. There's our exit price and conservative again, all right? And I generally tell people, please don't pay attention to the segment. All right. It's just different people had a hand in creating Holly, and different Holly strategies came online at different time. And so we just named them different segments because of the birth of it, essentially. There really is no difference between them. The only difference is who created them and when they were created. And it's not even really as much of a who as a when than anything else, to be honest with you. So hopefully it's a good tutorial in Holly. In Holly. I'm going to share out a few things. I think this video that I did on Holly is an outstanding video, quite personally. The only thing, this is going out to everybody in the chat, in both chats. There it goes in Zoom. There it goes in YouTube. The only thing is, in that video at the time that I made it, Holly was in 3 segments in the channel bar. It's now just one Holly, one channel bar, and it should have always been thought of that. I don't understand why we did the confusion for everybody, but it happened. It is what it is. We've since, what I consider, fixed it, because people get too hung up on, oh, Holly 2.0 did this and Holly Grail did that. It's nonsense. Just Holly. That's all that should matter to anybody. All right. So, you know, that's where I stand on that. I have a very hard stance on that. That's that to share with you folks. The second thing that I'd want to share with you all is this. Trying to find the Holly guide. All right. Literally everything I just went over is done in detail again, right there. There we go. So that's shared out with you folks as well. So if you have other questions, fire them away for me, please. Take a second here. There's no live performance of Holly listed anywhere. The only thing we have to share out for Holly performance is this. Sorry, I'm putting the link in here. All right, and this is going to be right here. So this is just a hypothetical. All right, this is what I just shared out. This is a hypothetical. If you took making $100, you know, risking $100 per trade in moderate mode, and there's no slippage and no commissions involved in any of this. And so, you know, going back to the beginning of 2020 all the way to here, that's what that looks like. All right. So it's, you know, no magic tricks or anything like that. You know, we get a nice move and then, you know, a little bit of up volume and then, you know, slightly down actually here. Then it makes a nice move up and hands half of it back, and then makes a nice steady climb through that nice bull run that we had. And it really goes sideways for a long time again here, you know. So that's why it's human and machine. There's you know, is it possible to automate Holly? Because I think that's what everybody's really after, is I just want to automate Holly. I just want to automate Holly. Is it possible to automate Holly and make money on it? Yes, but it's not just press play ever. You know, there's adjustments to make each day, I think, on whether you want to run in moderate or conservative mode, on the risk you're willing to take on each day. You know, there's a lot of individual things, you know, that go into this. So there's no way to just press play on Holly, walk away and make money. That's absolutely 100% impossible. It's just, that's 100% impossible. But, you know, someone that has, you know, it's learning trading and starts to get a real feel for trading, you know, if you were a trader, if I'm you know, I am a trader, and I saw this Upstart alert come in, and I know how whippy Upstart is, and I know that earnings just happened, and I know whatever, and I saw a 25-cent stop. I'm sorry, but, you know, that was a terrible stop by Holly. That's all there is. The algorithm, it failed us on that. And I would have never accepted something like that. So, you know, that's it. You know, that's all I can say on that, you know. And as a trader, you know, I wouldn't go running right after that. But then as a trader, I say, all right, that pulled back. We held the opening gap of the day, and now we start to move up. That is really, really awesome. And I want to look at that. And I might want to take that trade on a high of the day break, and that ends up being a great trade. So we got a great alert and a great catalyst, and we knew something was going on under the hood because of the AI pointing to it. And now we apply the AI with their own trading, and knowing that we've got, you know, odds are quality setup coming in, and how that setup's going to work out, a trader needs to examine it a little further. And so that's what I'm really pointing. So if after trial do not take the premium service, then will this work? You need premium in order to look at the AI. So that's a must, has to work that way. Yeah, so that's that. You need the premium for that. And what I always tell people is, if you're not sure on the premium, start with the standard and build some scans of your own and check all that out. And you could always upgrade for a month and then roll back, anything like that. What else will I suggest for standard? Well, I can't suggest anything. I don't suggest anything, period. What I do when people ask me to suggest something is I ask a question back. What kind of trader are you? If you're a pullback trader, you're going to want to build pullback scans, or, you can always hit us up for some kind of pullback scan. If you're a momentum trader, you're going to want to go with momentum scans. But I can't suggest something, are you a swing trader who's someone who's watching things breaking out? Or are you a swing trader who's watching things that have been pulling back? Are you a swing trader who's watching things that are in a consolidation? These are all things that I fire back as questions, because if you're someone who only trades option stuff, you're going to want some kind of option scan, that's pointing you towards options action, things of that nature. So I would point you towards, if you're a swing trader, you're looking at stuff breaking out. This scan that I shared, the upper 20-day one that the way I shared, it's called My Evening Scan. This, I think, has some great stuff that comes through it for swing ideas. Now, we're really not in a swing trading environment at all, but let's pull it open. Let's pull open the full top list of this right now. All right. So I'm going to pull open the full top list, the non-racing version of this. All right. And I'm going to load it. And, we can look at things that are in here and see how they might, now someone who is kind of a pullback swing trader, looking for bargains and things that have been beaten up. This is in a wicked downtrend. All right. And is it breaking this downtrend now? We've got earnings. We've got some serious volume. Look at the increasing volume that even came in before earnings on this uptrend. And we're clearing a resistance level. So, someone might want to look at this and they can consider it a swing trade idea, maybe up to that $7 range. All right. So, and we can go chart by chart in these real quick and kind of go through stuff. And same thing here. We've had this, kind of downtrend that happened. We really broke it. We came back and we're bouncing again. And so are we building higher highs on this all right here, or higher lows, excuse me, through all there? And again, earnings are involved. So, what influence that's going to have, only time will tell. But, if this is to hold, this might be running up towards that $5.75, $6 level as a swing hold, but that's, going to be up to a trader to determine if that chart meets their criteria. Again, we'll work through some charts. And also, Mike C, no, I did not break any of my rules. This VERU, I did not mess with VERU today, but I see it right there. And we could take this as another prime example. This massive volume happened for whatever reason, gave all this back up, almost basically came down and touched that breakout gap. And now it's broken back out again. And is it ready to set up for another big run? We've seen it's done it in the past a few times. All right. Here's another nice run from it, and some are bigger than others. But again, so all some good swing ideas, depending on what you're looking for, that are coming out of this one scan here. So I'll share this version of it too. And this is, very similar to what's going on here. There's a little slight difference in nuance between those two scans with some volume involved in them. So I'll share this out as well. My evening scan. And that's why I always, hit the wrong button. That's why I always hammer the fact we're trade ideas. We're generating ideas. What you do with those ideas as a trader, that's always going to be on you. Because I don't know what your risk appetite is. I don't know what your account size is. I don't know what your trading style is. I don't, so I can point you towards, some scans after you answer a few questions like I'm doing now. And you can always take it from there. And this is all stuff that's available in the standard version. There's nothing special here. These are just scans that I built on my own. Here's another scan I'm going to share. It's very similar to what I just shared, but it's has some options volume that is involved in it. So there's that. Let me share this over in YouTube land as well. There we go. So let me load this option scan and talk about what that's doing now. And so what I've done with this scan, if we right click and configure, all right, I'm looking at stocks in between 10 and 100 bucks, relative volume of 1. They traded at least 1.25 mil shares traded in. They got to be 75% above the low of 20 days. All right. And we're sorting it based on options volume. So the ones that have the biggest options volume at the top, and then it'll sort based on descending options volume there. And so that's how this is all done. And so again, you know, we can take a look and we can see, you know, CVET, you know, with earnings behind it. And we got this mass increase of options volume and this nice uptrend. And does that continue? Could be a swing idea. SHLS. Again, you know, we've had these downtrends that get broken. And, you know, is it another downtrend getting broken, trying to wedge and find itself coming up? You know, I don't know. But, you know, for the bottom pickers, this might be something they want to look at here. All right. You know, a couple more charts here. And again, we've got earnings enough behind it that earnings shouldn't be the overall effect on this. And this thing came down, it touched, you know, it broke out, came down, touched back to the bottom of that breakout level and is breaking out again. And definitely some room to run there again. Not as nice of a looking chart, but you know, for all I know, someone might look at this chart and say, you know, I like this. You know, they might see that kind of downward wedge and it trying to break to the upside of that downward wedge possibly. So, you know, all viable ideas being returned based on different trading styles there. So hopefully, Raj, that helps answer a little bit or point you in some directions. And of course, you know, if you have other questions, fire them away. We can go more detail and all that, you know. So Walmart, I guess that got rocked today. Let me absorb. All right, yeah. And that's the other thing too, you know, there's just so much information that we put out there, Raj. So it's like, you know, holy cow, Walmart. Wow. Wow. Interesting. All right. So yeah, you know, so much data, Raj, to go over every day. And that's why, you know, really being able to, you know, what I do or what I did, especially at the beginning, is what I learned to start asking myself questions. And that kind of guides me into what I'm looking for. It has continued to guide me by asking questions and then, you know, asking myself the questions and answering them. And of course, ask us questions too. I'm not saying just ask yourself questions, but I think you get what I'm getting at. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, it means a lot to me. Even, you know, we get small numbers that get very discouraged by the extra small numbers, but I appreciate hearing that. So sorry, I'm still a little blown away by this Walmart chart right now. I don't see why Walmart would it rocked as hard as they did. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, obviously terrible downward trend, but target tomorrow. Yeah, that's um yeah, just interesting because, you know, you figure with, you know, talk recession, all these things like that, Walmart's going to be one of those places that people are going to flock to, you know, for more bargains, more deals, more bulk. Sam's Club, you know, is part of Walmart's group and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, well, you know, time will tell. Is this a buying opportunity? You know, who knows? Has this thing got further to go? You know, who knows? Time will tell. Time will tell. Just wow. Um, McDonald's, you know, they were able to hold on after this you know, earnings, you know. Um, Home Depot, right? They look good after their earnings overall. You know, and you'd think Home Depot people are going to be doing less home renovations. There's less discretionary money to, you know, fund things and stuff like that, projects around the home, you know, just trying to be in the mind of an everyday person, because I think we all are everyday people. And, you know, so that's, you know, the mentality I try to have on some of these charts when I'm thinking about it in longer term and bigger picture macro type of information. So anyways, you know, just you know, all this kind of food for thoughts. Here's one, Tanger Outlets. You know, I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I even put it in the trader's eye. I think I don't think we curated it to make the cut, to put out there that we were looking at it. You know, made this nice move though, and then a pullback, and now another really nice move after the earnings here. And you know, they're a factory outlet, you know, somewhere people are going to bargain hunt. I think they're more of the south of the United States than the north, because someone's told me there's one in Jersey that's not that far from me, but I'm not familiar with it. But anytime I travel in the south to see family, I've come across them a few times. So that's my thought there. And then here's the other thing with Tanger. Now, this was just updated, the short float, because this was up in the 20s before. And we can see that there's been a big move of short floats or shorts moving out with a negative short growth, but still got a 9% short float that we're reporting. So, you know, as this moves up, those shorts are going to keep getting squeezed, and those shorts can't be, you know, they can't have it from too high. You know, where are those shorts going to have it from, you know, here or here or here? You know, from here, you know, if it's here, they're in pain. That's all there is to it. Those shorts are in pain right now there. And if it's there, you know, we're approaching where they're short from, you know, so, you know, these are all things that I'm considering, you know, on some longer term positions, possibly if we don't roll back over completely on SPY. And just, you know, looking at this here. You know, was that it? Was that the bottom? I don't know. Nobody knows. Would I be surprised if we didn't come back down and at least test that again? Yeah, I would be a little surprised if we didn't. You know, I think, you know, a couple of times we felt like we had the all clear. We jumped down here, we came back up, think it's the all clear. Whoops, nope, washed them out again. We jump back up here. Really looks like the all clear now because we took this level out from there. And no, we really got pounded down onto this again. So I'm suspect if this bounce, and I'm no bear, I'm no bull, I'm just what the charts say. And, you know, we have a downward trend. I think that, you know, it's guilty till proven innocent. That's how we work. And that's how I work on the market and the charts. So, you know, just my 2 cents and my thoughts. Yeah, that's it. And I just want to make sure that I've got, I just want to make sure you have the right earphones and mics and all those things like that. There we go. All right. Now we got a question coming in. Very good. Yes, of course, of course, of course. You know me. That's what I'm here for. This is, you know, this is the stuff I really enjoy. Sorry, I lost the train of thought that I had here. Well, the market closed. I didn't even realize that. Let's take a look at, I'm going to bring over strength alerts here real quick. All right, there we go. I'm just moving a few things around here. So, all right, let's look at, so interesting. VERU was a strength alert, and Mike C. How about that, huh? See, Merck, we're back down again today, but that's looking pretty good here. That washout bounce like that, that looks really nice right there coming out of this area like that. That is a tasty looking chart right there. McCormick and Company, what do they do? Spices, right? Yeah. That's a tasty looking chart, and no pun intended. Happy pun, you know, happy accident on that pun. Twinkie, well, that's just unfortunate. This thing's been quite an uptrend, to be honest. Really something. I keep teasing, you know, Flight to Strength and Hostess brands, you know. Nice trend on that overall still. So we'll see what happens there. So we're Tuesday, Monday, that's Friday. So technically, I don't think this is live. This will be live. I do believe this is live. Right, let me just look at those charts again. Yeah, so that's live. That's live. Let's see. Hormel, this has been in a few times now. This is from when I did the alerts back here. So it's still a great looking chart here. Great looking chart. I mean, this thing's extended, but I talked about a few months ago, things that are extended just seem to kind of ride that momentum for extra time. Just messaging Steve, he was in a Twitter space and just seeing how that went with him. So yeah, when we talked about shippers yesterday and, we made that list, shared that scan out. And so shippers, is that it for them? Hard to say. Let's take a look at the shipping index. It was up here. All right. So it's given some up into the close. No, it finished high. I thought it gave up a little bit. I was looking at something wrong. So another big gap up from that. And what I talked about yesterday with the shippers is everything, think about everything else, all these other indexes that sold off. This sold off going into the end of last year. And then, kind of picked itself off the mat. And at the beginning of the year, gave it back up. And it never really sold off with the rest of the market. And relative to the rest of the market, the shipping index is up relative to the rest of the market over the last couple of weeks here, so I discussed some different shippers yesterday. I shared out a scan that I did here. I'll share it out with you folks before I delete it. We called it a shipper's watch list. And so it's attached to a symbols list that we have in TI. Oh, the strength alert scan. Yeah, so let me go over that real quick. Let me share this out here. So this is just the top list that has no filters in it. All it's doing is looking at shippers that we have on a symbols list internally to share with you folks. So that's what that scan is that I just shared there if you want to list the shippers. So the TI strength alerts is an algorithm that was created based on relative strength. I don't really know what's in the algorithm specifically other than some different range filters that have to do with different time frames, including position and lifetime range. And so we have what we actually call, let me get rid of some of this stuff because I don't want my computer getting too bogged down while I load up extra stuff. So I'm going to load up a channel bar here, doc channel bar, as a matter of fact, and bring that over. All right, let's get rid of that drawing. Shrink this down. And so in the doc channel bar here, one of the channels we have is the strength alerts. And if you come to that, it'll have this welcome page that pops up here. And this is an email product that we created. All right. And $17 a month. And each week you get this letter that comes out and gives you some market thoughts here about, the SPY, all right, in the overall market. And then it has 5 stocks, which were 5 of the top rated stocks that are in here essentially in the strength alert scan, which is through our Market Explorer technology. It's a different technology for scanning where we can build scans that can't be built normally with the technology. And we push those scans out to you folks. And so we give an entry price, and all the entry prices is a high above Friday's, above Friday's high. And then we put a stop out that's based on some recent support levels on daily charts. And that's really it, just 5 ideas. And they're meant to be, you buy them, on an entry level break, and then you'd sell them on the open the following Monday is how we back tested it and forward tested it. But it becomes still at your discretion, essentially. That's just how we back tested and forward tested it. There's been plenty of strength alerts that have gone on to multiple week runs, and, people want to hang on to those. There's been strength alerts that, they didn't work out at all, and you want to cut those losers quickly too. So that's what it basically is. Now, you don't have to just access the strength alerts through the channel bar. We have our Market Explorer technology. So you can go to New, and this E window, Trade Ideas, Market Explorer, TIQ, Trade Ideas Quant. That'll give you this window right here, all right? And it has a link to the user's guide that goes over all of this right here, all right? So here's all about our Market Explorer. It goes into all the scans that are in the Market Explorer, what those scans are looking for, what the charts look like of each one, to give you examples of how it works. And just like everything else in Trade Ideas, a right click. So if we right click this window, we can come to server window, and we've got 20 some odd scans that we built into here. We've got Bollinger Band squeezes on different time frames, inside bars on different time frames, inside day, strong stocks pulling back, bearish and bullish opening 2-minute power bars, Bollinger Band squeeze on a daily chart here, 3-line strike, gap up, gap down fills, all right, RSI divergences, long and short, and then the TI strength alerts here, all right? And I'm going to pull up my actual window because I have one that I keep open all the time. I'm always looking at the strength alerts. And so they all get graded on a score. And, unfortunately, some of them might be buyouts because, buyouts will look strong chart wise because, it's just math. We're looking for math. It's a math formula that we're looking for on charts. And that's really the short and skinny of what the strength alerts are. All right. And, you can go back here. We can go back pretty far in history on it. So let's see, we can go all the way back to January of this year, the beginning of the year, and look at what strength alerts came through. Not all strength alerts make the newsletter. We essentially, if all things work perfectly, take the top 5, and those are what makes the newsletter that we send out. But what we don't do is if something's going to have earnings during the week of that news, during the week of that letter, we won't put that out because we don't want people to be trading something through earnings. If something is a buyout, obviously we're not looking at that, so, we have slight discussions on what we will allow to come through or what we put out there, but they're based on reasons of technical analysis that, obviously MTOR, there's no trade to be had in this thing. So obviously we're not going to be looking at that. We're not going to be sending that out as a stock of interest. All right. Versus, wow, this thing holds like this. There's a very good chance that this will be, coming on the letter next week. All right. GOGL, all right, back to shippers again. This thing continues to hold up these levels like this and it looks strong. You better believe this is probably getting put on that letter going into next week. And so people that are subscribers of the software, they can take a look ahead of time at what would be going out for the strength alerts and, make their own decisions how it may or may not fit a portfolio for themselves based on these algorithms, essentially. No, this is part of the standard subscription. There's no extra monthly. If you're a standard subscriber, you've got this already. This belongs to you. You're in it. Go right at it. Nothing extra that you need to subscribe to. We just set up the newsletter for people that can't be in front of their computers all the time. They're looking for some ideas that in the market, they have maybe a decent idea or understanding of the market, but they can't be there to monitor all the time. And so that's why it's a swing idea. It's got wide stops, so that you're not getting knocked out in 1 hour on that trade, essentially, if you were to make the entry on it. And that's why we do that. So, just looking at this right here, if I was, I'm not, Michael's doing the curating of this right now, not me. I took care of it while, he was on paternity leave. But I'd probably be looking at something like this as a stop level, or maybe up a little bit more, but somewhere in this kind of area here. Someone else might argue this level here. I might be looking at the 1230 level, give or take, as what I might be looking at as a stop level. And that's just, this is kind of discretionary, but if you look, you can see that, prices really gravitated towards this area right here. And that's what I'm looking at. Someone can make that argument that, the prices gravitated to that area there. And so, we've got kind of a spongy zone is how we always think of support and resistance should always be thought of as spongy zones. how spongy you want it to be. That's a personal decision always. But, we can see this zone as an action for price right here. Someone else might say, I don't see it that way. I see this as the spongy zone instead. And I can't argue that they're right also, and that's what's subjective about technical analysis. So that's, the short and skinny of all of it. So, standard subscribers have access to all these scans in the Market Explorer server window, right click, and, all those are there for anybody that's a standard subscriber. Obviously a premium subscriber as well. Excuse my yawning as I get, 12 hours into a workday here. I get gassed a little bit. So, I think that's going to really take us into the end here. There's just so much that we offer. There's no one way to slice or dice all of this. And I think it's great if people can ask themselves questions. What am I looking for in charts? What am I looking for in the market? What is my time horizon? Am I someone who's looking at, holding 5, 10, 15-minute trades? Am I someone who's looking at holding 5, 10, 15-day trades? By being able to answer those questions can start to narrow the direction down that you want to look. And when you start to ask us, do you have a scan for this? Or can you point me in a direction for data like that? By being able to answer those questions and give us those answers without us even asking, we can get you more pointed a lot quicker and get you on your way in your journey of trying to find those ideas that you're looking for. So when you may write us an email and say, hey, I like this concept. I'm looking at these kind of charts, or I'm thinking about these kinds of setups. What are some items within the software that you can point me to right away, whether it's a scan or a filter or alert or an alert set or, things like that. And while no one is an expert on every single thing in the software, I can tell you my knowledge of the software from having done all these live streams and troubleshooting other users, my knowledge of the software has grown greatly. And then you couple that knowledge with a whole team behind me that I can go back to and say, hey, I had someone asking about this, or hey, we've got this ticket that came in about that. What do you guys think about that? Or what do you girls think about that? Or, on the dev side, what's something that you may think on your side that I'm not seeing on my side as a trader? And that's where we can come together and get you folks a lot of stuff. I mean, Stephanie, I can never give her enough accolades. What she does for scan building on the custom formulas that she can put together with the, the data that we have. So she's not just making stuff up, she isn't taking stuff out of thin air. She's able to put together some really amazing stuff. And, I'm, never been so lucky to work with someone as amazing as her. So, and that's where I guess I'll start to end it here is, support at trade-ideas.com. I do that right. SUPPORT at trade-ideas.com. You get us there, and we can answer some questions in more detail and go in more depth and have a back and forth about some more complicated stuff that way to get people pointed in the data that they're looking for, essentially. So again, I'm going to wrap it up now. I appreciate everybody that did come in here. Everybody has an agenda. I always say this. Everybody has an agenda. I have an agenda. My agenda is to get every person on this planet subscribing to Trade Ideas. All right. But my agenda only works well if you folks are making money. And, while I can't sit there and help you pull the trigger, I can't tell you what to trade. I can help guide you, by pointing out those things that were pointed out to me. Ask yourself these questions. By answering those questions and returning that information to us, we can get you pointed in a direction that you want to go with your trading, with your scanning, with your data analysis. In the end, you got to have a risk plan. We can talk about risk plans here always as well, by me talking about these spongy zones of support and resistance, by me talking about these, channels or these gaps and the gap retracements and things like that. This all goes along with risk management and how looking at these charts, we can decipher how we feel comfortable about that risk management. And it takes us, from being what I don't like the term trader necessarily. We are risk managers. That was what we do. We manage the risk of our hard-earned dollars. My hard-earned dollars came from working in restaurants for 27 years. And now I'm managing the risk that I'm putting out there of that money in the trading that I'm doing. Now, I happen to be lucky that, Trade Ideas reached out and offered me a position, but that doesn't change anything about how I'm managing that money that I made, over those decades of working in restaurants. I don't want to just hand it back to the market foolishly by not having a plan when I get into a trade. And, that plan came from, watching live streams like this, attending webinars, watching videos, and then simply answering and asking questions about charts. What does it look like this chart's doing? What does it look like a likely retracement could happen if I entered it? Where am I comfortable, because you're going to lose money on trades. So where am I comfortable losing money? And nobody's ever comfortable, but we have to decide what is that comfortability that we have. So let's see. Yeah, you're right. My goal is to use SAP to make money and see usefulness of it. So, all right, and by popping into these things, hopefully it's a combination of the software, the community that we have built around the software, and then your risk plan combined with that hopefully gets you in that direction that you're really looking to go. And, we want to be a part of that for everybody. I think it's great to have 401k or any other retirement plans that are long-term and that, you're looking at that on that long-term basis. But what about the today and tomorrow and the next day? We can be a part of that as well as a community together with the software. So again, I thank you all for popping in. I'm going to cut out the screen sharing as I get ready to shut this all down. I will be just on YouTube tomorrow, Wednesday. We're still in earnings season. So, I had a couple people here point out that Target will be reporting earnings tomorrow. So, another big deal. Oh, shoot, Tom, I didn't see that come in. When I click on file and hit load layout, default layout, layout from Trade Ideas, it's already made by you guys. And I click on it and nothing happens. So Tom, there might've been a hang up in the file transfers on the default layout, but what a default layout is when you go to file, I hope you're still here, Tom. Shoot, let me bring back screen sharing real fast. When you go to file and you go to save layout, you'll save it as your default layout unless you rename it something else. And so you could build out a layout of whatever you want, Tom, and save it that way. All right. So, when I load Trade Ideas, basically what you see on my screen now is what you see that loads for me every single day. And you could take any channel and turn it into your default layout as well. So if I was to go to, dock channel bar, for example, and I bring a dock channel over, I could start with any one of these and use them as a default layout. And then I can start to modify it and then save those modifications, because you can't save it to the channel bar itself, but you could save it locally like that, or you can even save it to the cloud as well. So let me know if what I'm saying makes sense to you. So for example, I could say, gee, I like this momentum channel, but I want to change something in it. I could right click any of these scans and I could come into configure, just taking a second to load here. I can come into these strategies on the multi window here and I could go, gee, I like this scan, but I don't like the price range on it. For example, I want to see a larger price range. I could change that. And then after I change it, I could save it. I say I want $115 instead of just up to $10 on that. And I press OK and I press OK, and I could save this a couple of ways. One, I could come to, file, and I could go save layout, and I could save it as part of the layout like that. Or I could also click on the top of the window here, and I could go to save or share to cloud, and then I could load that from the cloud afterwards, and it would just be saving. And now if we look in this window here of the saved, you're going to see just a few things with check marks in them because it's just part of the that I loaded versus everything else that I have on my background right now, because obviously I have other stuff loaded. And so that's a great way to save things in docked windows. So you can just open them as docked. So I'm going to do this just as an example. If I go save right now, so I just saved this just one window. And if I come back to the menu bar here and I go file, load from cloud, because I saved it to the cloud, you can see momentum, and that TI, meaning that it was a docked window or layout, is what that indicates. And if I close this, hold on, let me close this just to show, close that whole thing out right there. Now, if I go file, load from cloud, and I click that, there it is, what I just saved like that. So let me know if that all clicks, Tom. I don't ever, I do have to run, but I don't want to leave you hanging either, because of that default layout situation. Also, the default layout should be the momentum channel. And so, Tom, you might have a situation where it didn't want to load because of the racing, because you're on an older version of Trade Ideas. So please, anybody that's still here, go and download, go to our download page, please, and download the newest beta. I know people hear beta and they get hung up in whatever about it. Please download our newest beta, all right? Here is the link. I'm going to walk you through this real fast, and I gotta run. There should have been something there, Tom, but sometimes the file transfers don't go right, or if you're on an older version of the software, things don't go right. So let me, in the chat here as well, with you folks in Zoom that are still here, if you're still here. So go to our download page, all right? And the first thing when you scroll down, you're gonna come across 5.5.69. That's our production version. Please skip that. Continue to scroll down, 5.5.82. Please download this. We have live real-time charts on this. There's a whole bunch of new stuff that's been added to the software. And you can always, on our download page, see this down here, release notes. We go into all the stuff that's in the release notes here that's changed recently from the last update to this update. So you can see release notes for 5.5.69 still. You can see the release notes for 5.5.82 on here. There's a lot of stuff that changed in 5.5.69. So all that stuff is still the same from that to this, just even more new things that we've added. All right. So get in there, update that, please, with the software. And to make sure you're always, always, always on our latest version of the software. All right. Go to, on the menu bar, go to tools, go to options, go to upgrade, and check all releases, all right? And then save that, all right? So again, one more time, tools, options, upgrade, all releases, make sure that's checked, save that. Then if we ever have a new beta release, the new, that's right here, that's gonna be a bold green. And if you hit that, there'll be an update to the latest or upgrade to the latest, whatever it's going to say. That'll take you to the download page. And again, always when you're on the download page, there's going to be a production version and a beta version. Almost always there's a production and a beta. Once in a while, there's only a production, but that's rare. And so scroll down, get on our newest version, get on the beta version. All right. That's going to really conclude it for me on this, for me anyways, sunny Tuesday afternoon. I do hope that everybody got everything out of this that they're looking for. And again, keep coming back. Also, selfless plug, please follow me on Twitter, follow Steve on Twitter, follow Michael on Twitter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow Trade Ideas Quant, follow the Trade Ideas account. Tell your friends about us, tell your parents about us, tell, anybody that that's interested in the stock market. They can come here and get this free education every day about talking about risk. They don't even have to be subscribed to the software. I am so confident that we bring such a great education that people that come here regularly will want to subscribe to the software. That's how Trade Ideas got me subscribing long before I came to work here. I'm a total believer in all of that. So, all right, once again, I'll cut out the screen share. And I thank you all very much for popping in here, and I will catch